Welcome back. This is part 2 of my series of videos highlighting my 5" by 10" princess themed album. We're going to dive right in to page 2. You can see page 1 up there to the right of the screen. That's the page that we completed in part 1. And now I'm just trimming down a piece of my favorite scenic group background paper and inking the edges in Chestnut Roan Color Box Fluid Chalk ink. I'm punching the holes for the rings. And then I'm going to use the brown and I guess it's more of a kind of a grayish brown, and there's some flowers. This is the paper that I used on the left side, or page 1. And I'm just trimming it, and I broke the tip off my breakaway knife, so now my breakaway knife is very sharp, and that's probably what I'll be using for the rest of the video. I'm taking a look at the window, and I'm tracing the inside of the window because I'm going to put something there so it shows through the window, and I need to know exactly how much space needs to be covered. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a double mat for a photograph, and eventually I'm going to put a photograph in that space. So you can see that I have 2 different shades of green cardstock, and then I'm going to be putting them on page 2 so that when the book is closed, that picture will show through the window on the cover. And now I'm just piecing the mat together. I didn't have a piece of cardstock scrap big enough to mat the first mat, so I had to piece it together from 2 smaller scraps. But so you can see there where I'm marking where I need to cut. And then I'm cutting it down, rounding the corners again. Because the album has rounded corners, I figured I would make the mat have rounded corners as well. And this is a border sticker from the Scenic Route Baby Girl stickers. And here I'm adding some light green square gems from Hero Arts. And they come in a line. I'm just tearing them off the line and sticking them down the way that I want them. I know I said I was going to buy jewelry store bling, but their gems are really nice, and I couldn't resist. Okay, so just showing what we've done so far. This is the cover. Then is page 1 at the top there, and page 2 at the bottom of the screen. So now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do page 3. And page 3 is going to be done in a couple different parts. This is a piece of that Scenic Route scrap strip, and it was the poppies or posies or whatever those are, but I'm actually going to use the back, which is a handwriting, kind of an old-fashioned handwriting, and I put adhesive on the back before I inked it, but that's okay. I'm just going to hold it in my hand and ink it up, and then I'll apply it. Using the box cutter to trim the excess. And now this is also from the scrap strip. Or actually no, I'm sorry, that's not correct. This is from a piece of paper from the Sonoma collection. So it's actually a striped paper. It's not from the scrap strip. This is another piece of the gray cube background paper. It's 4x5. And I'm just inking the edges, and now I'm going to glue it down. And then on the end, I'm going to put another piece of stripe. So it's handwriting stripe, place to journal, and then another stripe. And then what I'm going to do is, before I make page 4, which is going to be the exact mirror image of this, there's a break I'm going to take in the middle to do something that needs some drying time. So I'm going to trim this. And I'm going to punch the holes, and then I'm going to ink the edge. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some grunge board. This is the dot grunge board, but any kind of grunge board or chipboard or any flourish, even a stamp. You know, when you're making your albums, just kind of go with the flow and just go through your stash and find stuff that looks cute and just play and have a good time. That's my advice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out these grunge board flourishes and I'm going to ink them in a lime green color box dye ink. And I have a lot of these little cat's eyes left over from classes that I've taught, or make and takes that I've done, or stuff like that. And so I've been trying to make an effort to use those up lately. And that's actually been kind of stretching my creativity because I have a limited color selection to pick from. While I was in there looking for the green, I found a chestnut roan fluid chalk cat's eye. So I'm going to be using that for the rest of the album instead of the Spouncer and my nice new ink pad. Right now what I'm doing here is I'm assembling page 4, which is the mirror image of page 3. And what I'm doing is I'm putting it together while I wait for the grunge board to dry, so that I'll be able to handle it without getting too messy. So I'm just continuing to assemble the page, inking in chestnut roan cat's eye, and then just using the ATG to adhere it to the chipboard. Just inking again with the fluid chalk ink in chestnut roan. Chestnut roan along with dark brown and creamy brown, those 3 fluid chalks are probably my favorite. So just inking more of the stripe and gluing it down and trimming, punching my holes, and then I got to ink the edge again. And then there we go. And now what I'm doing is I'm figuring out how I want my grunge board to be. And that looks good. And normally what I would do at this instance is I would take a picture of it, so that later when I'm assembling it and I put the glue on, I would know exactly where it was. But I'm using my camera to make this video, so I can't take a picture. But that is a tip for you. Is if you lay things out and you have a very specific way you want them, just go ahead and take a picture so you know exactly where to put them. Now, while I was talking about that, all I did was take a small chipboard flower and file down the edges so they wouldn't have any little tags on them, and then I inked it in chestnut roan. And now I'm using glossy accents to adhere these grunge board flourishes, and the reason why is because they're so thin that there's not really any adhesive that would be thin enough aside from a liquid adhesive, and Glossy Accents is my favorite liquid adhesive. And I decided that the one on page 4, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm using foam dots to adhere the chipboard flourish so that, or adhere the chipboard flower so it looks like the grunge board is its tail. And I thought I would do the same with another piece of chipboard on page 4, but I didn't like how that looked. So I decided that I was going to do some bling instead. And this is a bling that I got from the jewelry aisle of the craft store. And I'm just putting dots of Glossy Accents where I think I want some bling and sticking it down. And then I decided that I wanted more, of course. So I added some more Glossy Accents, and now I'm adding some more bling. And even more. I'm never satisfied. I don't know why. Well, a girl can never have too many gems, right? So more Glossy Accents and more bling. There, I think that's enough. So I'm going to put my bling away. And that completes page 4. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for part 3.